I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Yes, I'm hitting the wrong buttons today, but I'm going to push some of yours. Okay, Target announced surging sales and shifting strategies. Really interesting. We're going to follow up with this on the Ritson article, which is one of the best I've ever seen. Besides canceling more than half of the store remodelings they had planned, it also bumped its associates' salaries up by about $2 an hour through May 2nd. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that's like a 20% raise for a lot of people, I think. I think they pay about $10 an hour across the country, maybe more in some places. But that's a real difference, I remember when my son was working at Kohl's and he got, like $1 more an hour. It really, really seemed to make a difference for him. So amazing that they did that. And they're also doing some options for those who are 65 and older, pregnant, or have underlying medical conditions, so that they can get some paid leave. Okay, so that they're keeping a foundation with their employees. I think that's just really, really good. And I'm not a huge fan of Target, but that's a great move. We got one. It's too complicated for me. Anyway, Budweiser is taking the money that they were going to spend on sports marketing and they're sticking it into nonprofits. And I think that's another good idea, right? Put the money somewhere instead of running dumb ads, which so many brands are doing. And the hard part about dumb ads, especially right now, is, if your market is men and there's no sports on, where do you put an ad? There's no place to even put it. There's places to put it, but ESPN is like a dumber ghost town than driving to the store. There's just not much there. So, and I refuse to read about speculation for next year's NBA draft right now. It just doesn't resonate with me. Sorry about that. Okay, so they're donating $5 million to the nonprofit organization for sports entertainment toward containing the outbreak. I don't know if that's a worthwhile charity. It might be better to give away beer, but I know that's a little problematic because there was a beer giveaway this January, but it was for the non-alcoholic stuff, and it was from somebody in Europe did it, I think. Anyway, the economy might be toast, but sourdough biz is on the rise. Okay, what people have done is taken up buying bread, or not buying bread. There wasn't much bread on the shelves a couple of weeks ago. Yes, last night I was there, and there was plenty to buy. I don't know if it was any good or whatever. It might have been the expensive stuff, and we'll get to that. But what they said is that there's no shortage of flour coming. There's plenty of grain, and in fact, it's up to the gills. But it's just slow supply chains, not shortages. I did have my wife go out and buy about 10 pounds of flour, or 20, 15, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, because I said, we could live on this bread. And if you don't know how to make no-knead bread, you can go to my personal YouTube channel, which is John Miglash on YouTube. I only have about 6 videos up there, but one of them is about making no-knead bread, and there's a few tricks and tips that I think work really well. It's about 10 minutes, and you can figure out the whole thing right there. You don't even need to go find a recipe. I think the recipe's on there. So people are staying home and baking more bread, and I think that's a great thing to do if you got the flour. Okay, now this is the Mark Ritson article that I really wanted to talk about. Forget about empathetic emails. Start making your brand money. McDonald's separated the arches, okay? And so Mark was kind of shaking his head on that one. Because what's the point? Yeah, social distancing, right? There's no point to that, okay? It's just making noise with your budget. And he said, email after email arrived in my inbox from brands I hardly remember buying anything from, asking if I was okay. It said, they started out, how are you holding up? First paragraph. Second, we believe in X, Y, and Z, like Budweiser, and they're especially relevant now, and you can still buy from us online, and a prayer for your safety on the fourth paragraph. He said, I had no idea, or Ryan Wallman said, there are this many companies that are here for me during this difficult time. But these things are just superficial. They're so stupid. And he said, and I really like this part, he said, marketing basically is diagnosing the problem, creating a strategy, then tactics. And if you watched my show yesterday, if you didn't, you should go back there. It's on YouTube. It's on Periscope. It's on LinkedIn. Links are there. One of the things that our modeling system does is it shows you a lot of anomalies. It shows you odd stuff. And so it gets your mind going. What could be the reason? And we can compress the time. You know, in normal calm waters, we like to look back a year to the prior season. And that kind of works, you know, it kind of works well. And you see how last year's results give you insights into this year. And then we, you know, pick the right names. That's what we do. But he said there's also tactics. That tactics can be split into product, place, promotion, and price. And that's what I learned when I was learning marketing way back in the 80s. I never studied it in the 70s when I was in college. Sorry. But what's going on is that the coloring in department, as everybody else calls marketing, focus only on one of the four. And they really only focus on communications, okay, which really isn't any of those things. And he said, I used to call it communification. And, you know, you got to think beyond that. And so he gives a couple of case studies. This is the great part. Okay, he said that let's, you know, think of how to add value. Have I been saying that? He says you're not going to come up with a substantive tactical effort unless you start thinking on those 4 Ps. So here's a couple of companies that he likes. Uber Eats. Okay, Uber Eats, not unknown to you probably, has made major changes to its delivery protocols and support systems. And what it does is it's paying the restaurants faster so that they get their money back because they are having cash flow issues, right? It costs money to keep the lights on. It costs money to keep the doors open or not, or takeout, to heat up the burners and to pay the rent. All that costs money, and I don't know if the government gets this or not. I don't think so because I don't think they've ever really had a business. And that's probably why Trump and others that have had businesses are fighting so hard to figure out a way to get most of us back to work. Maybe not me because, you know, I'm a marketing guy. Okay, but they're also giving the restaurants free promotional coupons and has dropped most of the upfront costs. Okay, but the big thing is access to their revenue on a daily basis. It's good for patrons, it's good for deliveries, it's good for business. He points out that LVMH hand sanitizer, you know, the booze companies and the perfume companies are making hand sanitizer. He says LVMH delivered 19 tons of the stuff before even the news got out. So rather than running a big announcement like Budweiser about their 5 million, which is, you know, nothing. That's like, well, oh gee, the lint in my pocket. I'll give you that. But still, it's appreciated. It's better than putting on commercials on empty ESPN slots. So the company, so think of something. Avoid communication if you want, but do something worthwhile. And now here's a couple of really good case studies. In Iceland, somebody came up with the idea. Not the country, but the bargain basement retailer said, let's let the elderly customers shop first. There's a couple of reasons why this makes a lot of sense. So you can get in, if you're over 65 or something, you can get in from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Okay? And what I like about that is, you know, the likelihood of me, who has a pretty good assessment of my and my family's needs, the likelihood of us trying to carry out 700 cases of toilet paper are slim. We're just going to buy what we need. And if we have some assurance that we'll be able to get in first later, we'll only buy what we need. right? We've been through these crises before. We know better, right? I keep wondering who's buying all the toilet paper in Heartland because I'm not going to do it, And when it was there and we were hearing rumors about it, my wife came home with one or two. And now we're very frugal about it. But restricting your first hour of trade to senior citizens is brilliantly simple. And you know what I'd like to see? There's another thing. Look up on my pig card that I've had for 20 years or more, right? Probably my pig card goes back almost 30 years. I worked with Dominic's Finer Foods on their I think it started as a check cashing card back in 1988. So let's take the grocery points like frequent flyer miles, and give a little pin out to the people that have accumulated more than 1 million grocery points in the 30 years they've been shopping at your grocery, and let them in first too. How about, instead of letting somebody with a container truck back up to the back and take out all the toilet paper? I don't know who's buying it. I got another suggestion, which is even better, coming down here. That's a good one. I'm gonna call the guy who owns the pig today and tell him that. Okay, a Danish supermarket said you could have one quick sanitizer at 40 krona. 3 quid, $2, something like that. And then it offered, I don't know what size. Anyway, then it said you can have as many as you want beyond that for 1,000 krona. Okay, so this is 3 quid. That's like $250 or something like that. Fast math. Don't ever try and do math on the fly. It's like 2.5 times whatever this is. No, it's like 200 times that. Okay, so yeah. So let's just say $500. Buy whatever you want. Okay, what it does is it prohibits, unless you have great need, but it's going to basically prohibit that unless you're really, really scared. And then have at it. Because then they can afford to move heaven and earth to buy more of them. Now, the problem that we have, of course, is that somebody will go out of the store and come back in. Go out of the store and come back in. So I don't like that. But it might have worked. It puts a little friction in the process. So we can have some fun with pricing and say, you can buy one or you can buy two. It's going to get to be more. Okay? Don't just think... Mark points out that most people, we used to give vital input into the major pricing decisions. We helped Dominic's Finer Foods in Chicago beat back Cub Foods from France, the first time Cub had ever been defeated in a market. And we did it with zone pricing and with ABC pricing. Both the distance to the Cub store competitively, an analysis of that, and the level of what a kind of a commodity. The specialty items didn't go down at all, maybe went up a little. The, stuff a lot of people buy but not necessities stayed about the same. And the commodities matched Cub penny by the penny. No one else did that. All the rest of them did was Cub went down 6%. The average home consumer can spot a 3%, 2 to 3% differential, and it will make a difference. Okay, so they go 6. And then what happens is the other grocery stores went down 4 or 3 or 2, or gradually they would go up. And then Cub would go up and would always keep a 3% differential. And have a big, and then the regular grocery stores would have a big price ad, and when you walked into Cub, it would show the competitor's price ad in the newspaper, and Cub would write in big marker their price over the top of it, and show you every place where Cub was giving you a better deal. You know what kind of ads we ran? We ran the one I remember most is this huge strawberry, one big, beautiful strawberry. They looked all over the world to find artists that were super good food artists, and it was hand painted. A hand-painted huge super strawberry in the newspaper. I think we even did it in color. And basically said, we care about produce more than anybody. We care about, Italian sausage. We make our own Italian sausage. I don't know if that was one of them, but I know my wife for years went to Dominic's. And so we totally changed the game plan and we beat Cub, right? Now Dominic's got sold out to a big chain. Okay, so Iceland didn't give anything away free. It just rewarded their longtime customers. We need to be thinking of that. And the Uber Eats, don't know. And pricing is leverage. Marketers, you need to get back in the game. Marketing is not just telling a story well told or the truth well told. It's also thinking about competitive advantage and how do I leverage what I've got. Have a great day. Like and share. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Whoops.